Another video for you guys today. We are building momentum with the last few YouTube videos. Now, we did talk about income planning, estate planning, and tax planning in the last video. And once you do those three things, you should be left with either hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars a year. Now, I know not everybody who watches these qualify to work with us, but we are still going to show you exactly the steps we bring clients through to help them thrive not only in their businesses, but in their personal life, in their communities, and in their family. So let's jump into the iPad and discuss what we talked about last week so we have a good idea of where we're going today and put a nice bow on this, wrap it up, and hand it to you as a gift. So let's jump into the iPad. So the first thing we discussed was income planning. What is income planning? Income planning, as we see here, is isolating our incomes, directing all income into a core account, a holding account, not our checking account. Do not do that. That is designed for failure. That is why on the Fed right now, our average savings in the United States is a whopping 4.5%. The average American spends and the average American saves nothing. They spend what they make in income. So this income planning addresses that, solves that for you. I've seen this plague people who make $100,000 a month. I've seen it with people who make $10,000 a month. It doesn't matter. Everybody is subject to this phenomenon of spending what you make. On the iPad here, money up top directs into the reservoir. That holds all income, holds all money that we take. It's forced savings out of the gate. From there, we have spending accounts on the bottom here. If, by example, you are making $30,000 a month, hopefully you're not living on $25,000 of that like most Americans. Default savings happens. We also get into household economy. For a lot of people, this is the first conversation they have about how much money do we need as a family to exist. Our mortgage, our fun, our kids, how much do we need? Let's just say you need $20,000 a month to spend. Well, that money gets automatically deposited into your current checking accounts, whoever you bank with. So we do $20,000 coming out every month. Dice that up however you want. That could be $10,000 to $15,000 to whoever pays bills, $5,000 to your wife. That's how our house kind of exists. I pay bills, I manage bills, wife spends money. She gets her allotment every month, life goes on. Now, like I said, if you're the female and you manage the bills, maybe you need a bulk. If you guys split bills or however you do it, direct the money in the app, super easy. You can have it come out on the 1st or the 15th. You can have it one time a month. It's completely up to you, full control. So now, by default, 30,000 coming in on inflows, 20,000 coming in outflows. We will be saving $10K a month naturally on autopilot. Now, for whatever reason, life happens and you got to run up into the reservoir and send down ACH some money right down into your personal bank account. Do it. You have control. We understand life happens. But one of the cool things is we can start preparing. Vacations, fun, event, wedding. So let's just say $20,000 is coming down. Let's say we put $15K of that split between mom and dad and they deal with bills and fun. What are we going to do with the other $5K a month? Well, we have a kid's wedding coming up. I have 4 daughters, so that's a real thing. We like to go on vacation, so we need to isolate money over towards our fun. So with the 5K, we're going to split $2,500 and $2,500. One into a vacation account, one into the kids' wedding fund. That is it. That is income planning. Let's leave that there. Remember, number 1, do not put money from your company into your spending account. You will be setting yourself up to lose. The numbers show it. 5%, 4.5% is what people are saving. Obviously, there's better people out there. there's exceptions. But the second thing we talked about was tax planning. Tax planning is not handing all of your books, all of your bookkeeping, all of your papers over to the accountant and sitting back and waiting for a reply. Tax planning is strategic. You're sitting down either quarterly or semi-annually. You're discussing things that your company needs that would maybe be worth buying, not simply just spending money to spend money. We're looking at paying kids if they're involved in your company up to 15 grand a piece. There's things such as the Augusta rule. There's leaseback strategies with equipment. There's intellectual property. There's royalties, all upper tier estate planning. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume you pay $250,000 or more a year in taxes. One of our most recent clients, his annual tax liability was about $3 million. We ended up working with him, strategic tax planners, estate planning, and were able to reduce his taxes to around $400,000. Massive savings. That is what tax planning is. If you can't invest into a tax plan that gives you a 4, 5, 10, 20% ROI, you do not have a good tax planner. You have a run-of-the-mill person who went to university and plugged into the natural system. That usually doesn't help a lot of people. Third thing we discussed was estate planning, dealing with estate taxes, dealing with also tax planning for our estate, not necessarily just our business. How are we going to deal with our estate? How are we going to generate legacy planning? What happens if we get a lawsuit? What happens if we have a failed business and we need bankruptcy? How do we protect assets away from creditors? That is what proper estate planning does. Now, most attorneys, run-of-the-mill, Google near me, estate planning, do bare minimum living trust things, butter knives, no asset protection, no anonymity, and no real tax planning. So we work with top-level estate planners who specialize with estate planning in conjunction with tax planning to give you massive results. Those are the three things we discussed leading up to what are we talking about today. Today we are going to discuss what we call the multi-tool strategy or the Swiss Army knife strategy. Mind you, we haven't even talked investing yet. Investing has not even entered into our vocabulary. We are baseline building the foundation to build a skyscraper for our family. So the Swiss Army knife is a tool. So if I were to ask you, hey, we're going to go hiking. It's going to be 2 nights, 3 days. We're going to stay the night. It's a 30-mile trail. Do you want to bring a regular knife or do you want to bring a Swiss Army knife? One that has a can opener, one that has a sharp edge on it to cut something. This is going to have a flat head so it can, something in your pack or something you have needs to be tightened. There's some scissors if you need to cut something. There's a little saw if you need to cut some wood to make a fire. And then there's a magnifying glass that you can use to start a fire or get a, usually there's a little pair of tweezers in there too. So if you get a cactus, which one would you take on that hike? Well, if you're in business, you need leverage. You need one move to affect 5 things. Now, the beautiful part about the Swiss Army knife strategy is it magnifies the success in your business, but it also builds wealth into the future for your estate. So this is leverage at its core. We're going to jump right into that on my screen. Let's go. Okay. So what is the multi-tool strategy, the Swiss Army knife strategy? Don't get too caught up in the numbers yet. What we're going to be looking at is a liquidity, financing, family coverage, tax-free retirement, lawsuit protection, and legacy planning. Through our income planning, through our tax planning and estate planning, we just found hundreds of thousands of dollars that we were pissing into the wind from being ignorant in junior varsity. Now we are on varsity. Now we have a team. Now the numbers are clicking. We're efficient. And with that, we find money, lots of money. Like I mentioned, most recent gentleman, around $2.6 million back into his household economy through proper estate planning, tax planning, and income planning. So what are we going to do with that? Now, this illustration that I'm going to show you was actually for a gentleman who sold a piece of real estate. And he had a little bit of cash, more than normal, but he generally said he saves about $100,000 a year, which equates to about $8,300 a month. We built out the multi-tool. What is the multi-tool? It is a place where you park money with at least a 100-year-old mutual life insurance company. Salty old dogs. No fanciness, boring places, asset protected, place to park cash. Now, it's not an investment. An investment entails principal risk. With the old school life insurance company that's mutually owned, they've paid dividends to their policyholders for hundreds of years. These guys are rock solid. This is what you want to build your house on. Granite. So this life insurance illustration is saying this gentleman has $200,000 this year, next year, and then until for the next 20 years or 18 years after that, he's going to fund $100,000 a year. This is coming from business profits. This is coming from trust profits. This is coming from wherever. Premium comes from everywhere. This is his funding schedule. Now, you see here $100,000 a year. Well, this gentleman doesn't have to pay $100,000 a year. He can if he wants to. The floor on this policy is about $30,000. So he has a gas pedal. If it's a slow year and he can only save $30,000, well, then this is a great policy. If it's a banger year, consistent year, he can do $100,000. So he has flexibility built into his system, which every entrepreneur needs. Some years it is amazing. Some years there's lawsuit and bankruptcy. You need flexibility. So let's look at this. We're going to look at the funding schedule over 20 years. So cumulative premium means how much did he put in? Year 1, 2, 200,000. Year 2, another 200,000 totaling 4. Another 100,000 totaling 5. Get to the end of 20 years and this gentleman has inputted cumulatively $2.2 million into his Swiss Army tool. From there, he plans on turning the retirement spigot on at age 65. So he doesn't need to fund from 60 to 65. He's going to have these years of not having to pay any premium. This policy is what is considered paid up. You can see he's getting an annual dividend every year on the policy. He's piling that back into the life insurance company. That company is going to reinvest that and grow his money with compound interest tax-free. So he's growing 200,000 plus 204. Year 2, the dividend's about 10,000. Year 3, it's about 13. Towards the end of the 10th year, he's making about 45,000 a year. 50s, 60s, 70s. At the very tail end of the policy, dividends are equaling 6 figures. And remember, there is no risk. This is not an investment. Do not take this and compare it to the stock market. This is a business owner. He can take this money and grow his company, acquire other companies, and crush the stock market. Business owners historically value their businesses more than the stock market. Not to say you can't do both, but most businesses understand wealth in business creation or acquisition, so they tend to maximize their businesses to sell it or pass it to the family. Total net cash value. So after he puts money in the first year, 200 grand, he has access liquid to 164. Well, Kirk, that's a horrible deal. He just gave up $35,000. He's losing. Okay. He's starting a financing system. This is a business. This is a man who now has a massive pool of money that he needs to manage for loans, for investments, and he is putting on the hat of what we call banker. And now, instead of having to go get traditional financing, he can use his own system. business equipment, cars, whatever the case, hiring, bonuses. This can be used for business. This can be used for kids' weddings. This can be used for home additions, car purchases, hunting, whatever your fancy is. So year 2, he puts in another $200,000, and it looks like he has $345,000. Year 3 is when he starts with his annual consistent premium of $100. So total net cash value is $450. In year 3, he's put in $500. Year 4, he's put in $568,000, or his cash value is $568. His cumulative premium that he's put in is $600. Right here in year 5, he puts in $700 collectively for all the years. And finally, in year 5, he has access to just about $700,000. This is what we refer to as the break-even or capitalization phase of the Swiss Army tool. Now, this whole time, his first year, he was worth $4.8 million. God forbid anything happens to him or his family, they get a massive windfall. Every year, he compounds his money. His death benefit grows. You can see in year 5, he's worth 5.8. That's over $1 million in value over 5 years he added to his family in the event something happens. Death benefit doesn't usually pay out. Now, you may know somebody who's passed recently, but statistically, people don't pass that much. That's why life insurance companies are very accurate in what they do. Don't want to get too crazy into that, but we don't build these for massive death benefit. We're building these for liquidity, for him to grow his business, have his money, get out of the banking system, and grow. So let's jump over to year 10. Year 10, he's put in a cumulative $1.2 million. Now remember, this money is coming from money we found. That is the blessing of working with a team who goes and wins by helping you win. We only win if you win. Now, there's tons of people out there like us who will help you win, put in tax planning, estate planning, and income planning, but this is our bread and butter. So year 10, he's got $1.2 million in. His bank account with the life insurance company is looking to be about 1.45. His death benefit is now about $7 million. Let's go to year 15. He's put in 1.7, and he has access to 2.47 million. He is gaining money. He has more money than he's put in. Mind you, this is not an investment. So anywhere in these years of all this total net cash value, he could have went out and purchased a duplex. He could have went into apartment complex syndication. He could have bought a fleet of trucks to grow revenue. He could have invested this money into other things that actually have risk and make him money. Now, the reason we use life insurance companies, the reason we do that is because when you see these numbers here, let's just say this, we'll call this about $1 million. If he takes $500,000 out of that policy to go and invest in his company or build a house or whatever his fancy is, he's getting full growth on the 976 in the life insurance company. That money is growing even though he has a loan out. Now, hopefully when he uses money, it makes babies. Hopefully it grows. Hopefully it expanded his company. Hopefully the hire increased more sales. He's not only getting full policy growth, even though he gets to use his money, hopefully his money is winning. They usually are if they're in business, they have a system, and they have a team helping them win. Down to year 20, he's got $2.2 million into this contract over his last 20 years from 40 to 60. He's put $2.2 million into this contract. His total net cash value is $4.8 million. His death benefit is $9.3 million. His estate is very happy. His wife is very happy if he gets hit by a meteorite. This cash value he can use whatever he wants. When he takes a loan out to purchase something or invest in something, the life insurance company doesn't say, "What are you doing? What's your credit score? Are you in a lawsuit? Are you What's going on? How do you plan on paying us back? The life insurance companies do not care. They don't ask. All they want to know is, do you have the cash value available? Or do you have too many loans? Back to year 20, 3.8 million, 2.2 in, not a bad gig. 9.3 million death benefit. So with this gentleman, what we're going to do is we're going to turn on an income stream at age 65. Mind you, he may still own his business. He may have sold it to his children. He may still be collecting income from the sale of his business. He may have 40 rental properties. He may have 1,200 apartment doors. He may have partnerships in other companies. He may be doing consulting for income in retirement because he doesn't really believe in vegging out and being useless to society in retirement. He's giving back. He's still participating. He's in the game. But he wants to start turning on income tax-free at age 65. This life insurance tool is going to fire off $310,000 a year tax-free in his retirement. He's going to do that. So he's going to receive $310,000 a year from age 65 to age 90. Now that doesn't mean he has to spend it all. He could save it. It's up to him. This will be a supplemental pension-esque retirement for him, anchored with over a 140-year-old company who has a history of winning, not being crazy, and stabilizing money for families, big institutions. Not to mention, he burns down all of his retirement here, tax-free. And if he passes at age 90, he's still going to give his family $1.6 million. This is what we call the multi-tool. He had liquidity in his cash value to grow his business, to fund projects, to do reunions, to marry off children, to invest. He had access to his own cash in scenarios like now, where interest rates are ridiculous and loans are hard, banks are hard to get loans from. He can go to his own financing system with no questions asked. When the markets tanked, he was liquid because he was smart. He scooped up real estate at 50 cents on the dollar. He even hard money lend along the way and averaged a 20 to 24% return on his money by lending his money out. Guys, the opportunities are endless when you take this full system of income planning, tax planning, estate planning, and putting these very leveraged, basic, fun, stable tools to work. Wealth building is not nearly as hard as it has to be. People convolute it. I think you can win. This system thinks you can win. And I hope in this chart you're seeing it. Pretty basic. We build these out sometimes to run into the mid 60s. We start these on children for parents, for college funding. Those get extremely juicy. Income planning, tax planning, estate planning, and put together a financing system that anchors all your cash for you and your family and your business. If you found this video helpful, I ask that you subscribe for more videos to come. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments and I'll look forward to answering them or somebody on my team. Have an amazing day and win.